It's looking like the days of cancel culture are, I wouldn't necessarily say coming to an end, but the pendulum is definitely swinging back in the other direction because we got this news that just came out. Gina Carano sues Disney over Mandalorian firing in lawsuit funded by Elon Musk of all people. So yeah, there's a lot of people coming after Disney on this one. And Elon Musk, he previously made statements after he took over Twitter and rebranded it as X, basically saying that they're committed to free speech so much so that they'll actually fund the legal battles for people who were unfairly terminated from their employment because of posts that they made on the platform. In the past, though, Elon Musk has declined to actually help fund certain court cases for people fired because of posts that they made on X for various reasons, mainly that they didn't feel like it was a case that could actually be won. But with this situation, maybe there actually is something more to it, and Gina Carano actually does have grounds to sue Disney for her termination. But let's get into this article from The Hollywood Reporter kind of talking about it. In an escalation of a standoff over her firing from The Mandalorian, Gina Carano is suing Disney and Lucasfilm for discrimination and wrongful termination. The article goes on to say that Gina Carano filed the complaint Tuesday in California federal court. I think she should have tried to file in another state if possible. But I mean, if you have to file in California, then that's what you have to do. And it's kind of unfortunate for that matter. But still, it is what it is. She claims that they fired her for voicing right-wing opinions on social media platforms. And I think that's kind of an important note that we'll get back to. But Elon Musk is making good on his promise to foot the legal bill for users who claim that they were wrongfully terminated for posts that they made on his platform. And then down here in a statement, X's head of business operations, John Bernard Roach, said, as a sign of X Corp's commitment to free speech, we're proud to provide financial support for Gina Carano's lawsuit, empowering her to seek vindication of her speech rights on X and the ability to work without bullying, harassment, or discrimination. I will give some credit to The Hollywood Reporter on covering this story because they actually do include the post that Gina Carano made that ultimately got her fired, because a lot of people say it's about equating conservatives to Jews in the Holocaust or something like that. And that's really not what she said at all here. Just take a listen to what this is and let me know, do you think it is equating conservatives to Jews or is it something else? Because I believe it's a message of unity or it's trying to bring people together, but you decide what you think this means. Most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? You see what I mean? That message really wasn't that bad. I mean, I think it's actually a pretty good message where it's just saying, don't hate someone just because they think differently than you. We can agree to disagree on certain things, and that's fine, but let's just try to come together and not actually escalate things into levels of hostility. But apparently that's just a bigoted behavior in current year. Officially, Disney doesn't have any necessarily public positions when it comes to politics, as in like they're not a Republican company or a Democrat company. It's just a company that has certain views on certain issues when it affects said company. And they're saying they fired Gina Carano because their position isn't necessarily liberal or conservative. It's just they don't want people making posts that are kind of inflammatory and can actually upset a lot of people. And if that's their position where people can't make posts that are hateful or whatever, then that's fine. They're allowed to have that opinion. The problem is it's not necessarily a consistent standard because we also have this post that Gina Carano's Mandalorian co-star Pedro Pascal said. And in this post, he's basically equating Trump supporters to Nazis. And obviously that's way more inflammatory than anything Gina Carano actually said, but yet he still was able to keep his job. So if Disney's position is that you're not allowed to make any inflammatory remarks, well, then they should have gotten rid of him as a result of this. But since they didn't, it just goes to show that their standards aren't being applied equally. Some people might try to argue that in California, it's an at-will state for employment, so they can fire you without cause, and political affiliation or political beliefs aren't necessarily a protected class, so she has no grounds to sue on, but that may not actually be the case here. I have this pulled up. It's from California Legislative Information, and it's their official .gov site, so it's not like it's just some random blog saying this. But here's what it says, Labor Code, Chapter 5, Political Affiliations, and it reads, no employer shall make, adapt, or enforce any rule, regulation, or policy, A, forbidding or preventing employees from engaging or participating in politics or from becoming candidates for public office, B, controlling or directing or tending to control or direct the political activities or affiliations of employees. Now, I want to preface this by saying I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. I'm just a layman reading this. This was just my quick research on the matter, but it does seem like that they're not actually allowed to fire someone because of their political beliefs. Now, if she's making statements on behalf of the company, then maybe there's some arguments to be made with that because Disney has their own personal positions and someone can't be doing that. Maybe they can say that she represents the company as an actress working for them, so that's why they can actually do this sort of thing. But it does really just seem like that they fired her because she doesn't share the same political views as the people who are making the decisions at the company. Going back to the original article, it says that she was paid $25,000 per episode that she was in The Mandalorian, and in this lawsuit, it's going to force them to basically recast her at $75,000. So it does sound like that they did have her in mind for a few more episodes, so she wants to be paid out for that, plus punitive damage, and the allegations are saying it's for wrongful discharge and sex discrimination. I think the sex discrimination angle has to do with the fact that her male co-star Pedro Pascal said something way more inflammatory, kept his job, whereas she got fired for saying something of a political nature. Some of us have been unjustly singled out, harassed, persecuted, and had our livelihood stripped away because we dared to encourage conversations, ask questions, and refuse to go along with the mob, she said in a statement. I think she may even have grounds to sue them based on defamation because of the statements that Disney made officially following her termination. This is from back in 2021, and this is a statement that Disney actually made after she was fired. And notice how it's a false statement of fact because, like I already read her post before where it doesn't denigrate anyone whatsoever, this is what Disney actually had to say about it. Her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. You can see how that is a false statement of fact because she didn't do any of those things or say any of those things, but yet that's what they're claiming. And for defamation, though, it is kind of a tough hurdle to get over. So maybe they didn't even bother trying with that, or maybe Elon Musk isn't necessarily trying to pursue charges for that. He's just trying to get people back their jobs who are wrongfully terminated or get some type of punitive damages as a result of being wrongfully terminated because of posts that they made on X. Because after all, he's not just going to fund everyone's lawsuit because they were defamed on his platform, because if that's the case, then it's just kind of a never ending cycle. So you kind of have to draw the line somewhere. Unfortunately for Gina Carano and for Elon Musk, I'm not really confident that this case will actually work for them. But that's not really the point in this matter, because if you think about it, Elon Musk, when he took over X, he said he wanted it to be a free speech platform. And that includes taking care of people who are wrongfully terminated as a result of the posts that they made on his platform. And by funding this lawsuit right here, he's basically sending out a huge message that X is not afraid to go after the biggest company in the entertainment industry. And while Disney may have deep pockets and able to actually fight this situation, a lot of other companies don't actually have the resources of Disney to fight these lawsuits against X. So if you're a smaller company out there, you might be thinking twice about whether you'll actually fire your employee because of posts that they made on Twitter or on X, because Elon Musk said that he's willing to go after people for situations like this. And now this is showing that he's willing to follow through with that. And like I was saying at the start of this video, it's looking like the pendulum is swinging back in the other direction as far as the culture war goes. And this case right here is basically the shot heard around the world.